we're not gonna do the whole opening thing because this isn't a whole show. We're just dropping by to say hi. Good morning, Libby. Good morning, Joanna. Good morning, Sean. Congratulations on being first, Jojo. Jojo should be first every time because she lives at the studio. She knows when I'm going to broadcast. Although I thought she was still supposed to be sleepy pies. It's Monday morning, everybody. I had a goodly weekend, marred only by terrible news from our friend Tracy up in Spokane. I don't know any details on that, except that one of her cousins is no longer with us. So other than that, it was a pretty good weekend. Also, my good friend Lindsay got himself married. And therefore is no longer really with us. But good for him, and we'll see what happens. I'm not married. Many of you are, and many of you are still with us. So there is hope. There is hope. All right. Busy day. We're not going to be broadcasting for long this morning. My volume is low. Well, your ears are low. There, I turned myself up. Good morning, Andy. Hi, Sean. Good to see you. How is everyone? What is going on this weekend? This is a react video, in case you're watching from the YouTubes and you're interested. What is going on? Is he just rebroadcasting footage from other stations? No, I'm reacting to things. How is everyone's... good morning, Collins Jackson's family. How was everyone's weekend? Hi, Stephanie. I know Marcy, who should still be asleep, out there on the Big Island, and by that, I believe it's Greenland, they had a massive earthquake out there, like a 6.1, but I don't know if there's any damage or not, and that should be, because Hawaii is part of these United States, that should be the lead story on Fucks and Friends this morning. Somehow I doubt. They don't, no one seems to really care what's going on in Hawaii, particularly not the Big Island. But I do believe they do have electricity now, so it should be possible to shoot the videos. Yeah, because they have the internets. So it should be possible to shoot the videos and upload them, so we should know what's going on in Hawaii. If anyone has some news from the weekend, let me know. We'll talk about that. In the meantime, here's Fox and Friends. Let's just see what they're talking about this morning. Because it's got to be, I'm guessing the economy is, the United States is done. We're done as a nation. We don't have a border anymore, and the entire world is falling apart, and also China. So let's find out. Nope, you guys can't hear that. So I don't want to have to listen to it and then relay that to you. So what I'll do is I'll try and put it in your ear. Busy morning this morning. I have a couple of auditions to get in. One that I think I am perfect for, but I've also let it slide for about 5 days, and I don't know if they're still even accepting because their submissions are like submit by December 15th, which is not really a thing.
Willing to go back and try.
Yeah, the UK has a shortage on crisps, which is what Americans know as potato chips. So the UK is going through massive shortages, not necessarily, well, the entire world is, not necessarily because of a shortage of supplies at the manufacturing ends. Sometimes, yes, but mostly in the UK because Brexit forced a lot of immigrants to just take off and leave and go to the EU, and now there's nobody to drive the trucks. Good job, British peoples. Here in the United States, we have so many potato chips. So inflation has been an issue here in the United States. I just haven't experienced it. I shop for my groceries at this outlet called Grocery Outlet, and it's where groceries go to die. Like if there's like Wonder Woman 1984 cereal, which was a movie released last year, I'll go and I'll buy that Wonder Woman 1984 cereal. Not because the movie was one of the worst movies of all time. It wasn't. It's, top 20 at best. I'll go and I'll buy that cereal because I don't care if what essentially is Shreddies. So hold on, you Americans, Cheerios. You guys have Cheerios. Cheerios, by the way, wonderful company for advertising. Cheerios was the first company nationally to feature a mixed race couple in a Super Bowl ad, and it drove the right crazy. Now, mixed race couples all over the place. In fact, it's hard to find a TV commercial without a mixed race couple. I fully expect, and it's very good for me. And that's what it's really about, isn't it? How will this affect your Heavenly Father? From a few years ago, somebody can look that up, what year that was, or not. But at the Super Bowl, there was a Cheerios ad, and there was a black lady and a white man, or a white man, or a white woman, and a white black guy, whatever it was. I don't even remember. And the Americans for Family Values, or whatever it was. How dare they? This is in the 21st century, by the way, that these people are reacting this way to a pretend couple on their TV box. So there was outrage. And now, for example, I audition for dad commercials frequently, where I play the dad in the commercials. And a couple of things have changed. For years, dads have been complete idiots in the commercials. And that's just, and the audience, the focus group seem to really like that. Where the dad's just sitting there watching football, and the mom's like, oh, you better move your feet. And the dad's like, but I just spilled all the Cheetos and set the couch on fire. Oh, Dad. I've auditioned for so many idiot dad commercials. I just had an audition last week where dad is actually like, wow, that's a very strong dad in that commercial. Not just in terms of taking out the trash or moving heavy objects, but, that's a very supportive, wonderful father who's doing this all on his own, or whatever the case may be. And also, the kid in the commercial, I walked out of there thinking, well, whatever kid they cast, if they cast a Vietnamese kid or a black kid or a mixed race kid or whatever, it doesn't matter. Whereas just a few years ago, pick the kid and then pick the grown-up to look like the kid in terms of skin color. That was always the way it was. Now, it's different because this commercial, it has no mom in it. I'm not going to tell you what brand or anything like that. Just very, very vague references to the spot. Anyway, I hope I get the spot. You'll find out if I do eventually. Because one day you'll be watching a commercial and you'll be like, that commercial has a strong dad in it, and it's not Kevin. And then you'll know. Anyway, this is Spilling COVFEFE. I don't even know if we're going to watch any Fox and Friends. I don't know. There's a bunch of news from Sunday shows. I haven't even watched. I've listened to one of the Sunday shows where Steve Scalise, who's second in command in the Republican Party in the House, by the way, right behind Kevin McCarthy, who speaks no English, he refused to say that the election wasn't stolen. Chris Wallace must have asked him 5 or 6 times, yes, but was the election stolen, yes or no? And all he would do is, what I'll say is there were irregularities and the legislations were ignored and the Constitution was not followed, which is essentially saying the election was stolen, that it was rigged and it didn't go. But yeah, no, was completely unwilling. Yeah, that is today's sweatshirt. Them's the Seattle Kraken, the new hockey team up in Seattle. And I'll tell you more about that in a couple of weeks when it's released. I don't know. But if anyone up in Seattle happens to see a Kraken commercial, let me know. And then I can spread the news. I'd like to get a copy of it. But I can't tell you why. And I don't know anything about it. So here are some laughing. The Fox and Friends, look at them. There's the Deuce and Rachel Campos, Duffy, and Brian of the Kill Me clan. They're having a good time. I don't know what they're laughing about. Let's find out. I take it you're not going to do Trump's rally. That's not true, Stephanie. I have not watched Trump's rally Because instead of watching Trump's rally like everyone wants to, because there's always something new. What I like about the Trump rally is it's the spice of life. Because every time he does a rally, he never repeats himself. There's always just a ton of new information there, and he's very specific about things. This is what I intend to do. So you learn so much from a Trump rally. Unfortunately, on Saturday evening, I had to be with other people. There were people at this wedding that I had to go to where my stupid friend Lindsay got stupid married, and I was not able to watch the Trump rally. And really, it's not about me, people. It's not. I don't care how it affects me. I will sacrifice. I will go and I will eat the wedding cake and I will have the Brazzino or the Branzino or whatever. I saw Branzino on the, you can have the steak or you can have the Branzino. And I was like, well, you know, that way I don't have to eat my daily bran. I'm over 50 now, folks. I mean, really. It was fish. And it wasn't even Brazilian fish. I figured, oh, Branzino? That's got to be from Brazil. It just sounds like Brazil. I figured it was bran from Brazil, which we're now bringing in because of Trump's tariffs, the same way the Chinese are buying the soy not from American farmers. By the way, almost all of the Trump deal with China, where China was going to buy all these products from the American farmers, they're not doing it. Like, screw you. They made the deal with Trump, and then Biden got elected, and the Chinese are like, well, we don't have to comply with any of these. Last year, even while Trump was in power, they kept pushing it off. They made a little tiny purchase of some soy, a little tiny purchase of some whatever, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we this because of COVID, the backlog, and da 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 da." And all the Republicans care about is getting to the bottom of where COVID came from, because, and Scalise said this yesterday, all of the evidence points to it coming from a lab in China. There's no evidence. We don't know. Why? Because at the very beginning, when there might have been some evidence that we could get to, Trump was praising the Chinese for their hard work and transparency. I think I actually have that tweet. Do I? I know I do. I know I do somewhere. I think I've just kept it there because it's like one of those evergreen tweets. Even though Trump's Twitter account doesn't exist anymore. And he's suing Facebook. Because it's like, I was president, so you can't take me off your platform. Even though I spew nothing but nonsense. Yeah, I don't have it in the ready. Oh, wait, I might. Let's see. What was it? It was an image. This is spelling COVFEFE. Nothing's prepared here. I have no idea what I'm going to say. Let's see if I have a Trump tweet ready to go that I can just add in here. Mask mandates, impeach. Oh, here we go. Look at that. How about that? There it is. Not bad. Wow, I feel like I've actually accomplished something today by finding this tweet. Therefore, I think we're going to wrap it up. That's going to be it for the day, folks. So everybody have yourself a great day. You know what? Maybe we should read the tweet and then do some other stuff as well. China has been working very hard to contain the coronavirus, praising China for their hard work. The United States greatly appreciates their efforts and transparency. There was none. It will all work out well. This is the 24th of January, 2020. We now have 700,000 Americans for which coronavirus did not work out well. In particular, on behalf of the American people. He's not even talking about himself. He's talking about all of us here in the Americas. Hey, thanks, President Xi. I want to thank President Xi on behalf of Heavenly Father and all the other Americans. Thank you for your transparency and your hard work at the lab. Idiot. I'll do the Trump rally maybe later today. Here's the deal. I have 3. Hold on. One more. 3 auditions that I have to do this morning and get in. 3 of them that have to be done. And then after that, I am moving. I'm not sure where to. So I am helping the proprietor of this particular residence, a young lady you might know, producer JoJo, is moving, and I'm helping her look at houses. I'll tell you a little bit about. Oh, you know what? I should. JoJo, you're watching. JoJo, can you email me? Remember that house that you're like, oh, this is a triangle-shaped yard, and we can take a look at that. We're not going to live at this house. No one is moving to this house. Even though she's like looking at houses and going like, look, here's some studio space for you. She found this, I almost took credit for it. Like, I found this house. We found this house. JoJo found this house. I don't know, JoJo, do you know the what? Stomp 3 times if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I hear nothing. She's probably doing morning stuff or something. Anyway, if she emails me that house, we'll take a look at that house because there's something pretty funny about that house. Let me refresh and see if anything is coming. No. So she's probably tuned out already. Judges agree. And over the weekend, we also, Marcy found us footage of the judges. People ask me, yes, that's exactly what I mean, JoJo. I'm reading the chat at the same time. By the way, if you're just joining us and you want to get in on the chat, all you have to do is chat on whatever platform that you're on, and it will be sent to that blue chat over there. You can't actually click on that blue thing. That's part of our screen over on that side. Look at this. Like, this is a chat screen color. I'm very well coordinated this morning. I'm quite excited about the whole thing. Hey, Josh. Josh says, hi, everyone. Missed you all. Apparently, when life happens, it happens all at once. What's new? All kinds of stuff. We're just talking. This is just COVFEFE. We're reacting. In fact, we haven't used anybody else's video yet. YouTube still has me demonetized because I used too much footage from other sources, which is what Hal Sparks and Dave Pacman and everybody does it. That's how we do, but I'm not allowed to. Funny houses are the best, isn't it? Welcome to Funny Houses with Kevin Lee. There are some houses out there. JoJo says she stomped twice because I have my headphones on. When Kevin Lee's daughter was about 3 years old, she had a pair of big headphones or little headphones or whatever, and it was her mother and myself, and we were walking along back in the days of marriage for me, and we were walking along, and she's between us, and we're each holding her hand. You know, little 3-year-olds are holding your hands like this, and we're talking about her, and we're looking at her, and we're saying, you have your headphones on, so you probably can't hear what we're saying. I bet you have your music really loud, don't you? I bet she does. I bet she has it at top volume. And she had like a little Discman or Walkman or whatever she was listening to. And she's holding her hands like this. And then she looks up at us, and she's watching us back and forth, talking to each other. And then she just says, I have my headphones on! Because when you have headphones on, you don't realize how loudly you're talking. But she was probably louder than I've ever heard her. She scored a goal yesterday. We played some Hawkus, and with the Los Angeles Blades, and she scored a goal. However, what happened was their goalie got injured. Okay, so they had a backup goalie, but he was dressed to play out. So he went to get changed into the goalie gear. Now, the referees were like, take as long, as much time as we can take, just so that it's way more fun to play against a goalie than to have nobody in net. You would think, oh, yay, they don't have a goalie. We can score more. No, you'd much rather have a goalie there. This is just play pretend, have a good time hockey. This isn't, the NHL. Because the NHL, they have a backup goalie sitting on the bench. Anyway, while we're waiting, we gave him a few minutes. We used up all the timeouts and the, what would have been overtime if it was like all that extra time and the refs are like, let's go an extra 5 minutes, da-da-da. Then we started to play, and the goalie wasn't ready yet because it takes a while to put the mattresses on. And so they had just a regular player playing in net. And at one time, Kevin Lee's daughter came around the net, and she shot it, and it went off the guy's leg. He tried to save it, but it went in the net. She scored, and it's my daughter, right? So I'm like, there it is! I was all happy. And she comes over, and she's skating towards me. She's just like, because she felt like, you should feel good because you've scored a goal and that helps your team. But she felt like it didn't really count because there was no goalie. But it still counts. Like, you're supposed to score. Hockey, it's not a bad idea to run up the score against another team. I mean, not ridiculous. But a 9-1 game or 9-2 games is okay because those goals, if there's a tie at the end of the season and you're trying to make the playoffs, those goals are the first thing that they look at in terms of, which team scored more goals? And if you're playing a bad team, whatever team you're tied with at the end of the year, they've also played that bad team a couple of times. Not that this was a bad team. This is a specific situation where the goalie, they didn't have a goalie for a couple of minutes. And we scored a couple of goals in those few minutes where they didn't have a goalie. I don't know. Marcy's probably, honestly, folks, she's probably buried underneath her roof right now because they've been having earthquakes out there on the Big Island. So... there's big news involving Hawaii, so maybe we'll cover that at some point. But everything's got to be buttoned down and nailed down. Let's see if the Funky House has come back in yet. Welcome to Funky Houses today. That's what we're doing today. No Funky Houses in my email yet, and everyone can blame JoJo for that. So if anybody in the chat wants to yell at JoJo, just use all caps and say WTH JoJo. Or if you're particularly tuned in to Funky Houses on a Monday morning, WTF, JoJo. And then put a smiley face or something so she's otherwise she'll just be, her whole day will be ruined. But why did they use the F word with me? That's not even her voice. She has no voice. It's been great. I didn't have to listen to her much yesterday because she had a rehearsal dinner, which I didn't go to because, I'm not special enough for Lindsay. She had a rehearsal dinner, and then there was the wedding, and I don't know if this is universal, but at least it seems JoJo's brushing her teeth. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Everyone was like, what's going on with JoJo? What's she up to right now? Yeah, I'm brushing my teeth. Yeah, I'm sitting on the toilet waiting to poop. Come on, JoJo. Nobody wants it. Exactly. What the funk, JoJo? Everyone is waiting for your Funky House. If you don't send us your Funky House, we're going to be forced to watch and figure out what everybody on Fucks and Friends is enjoying so much this morning. They're all having a great time. The country is ruined. There's anarchy. Antifa is throwing bags of soup into people's front yards. The country's on fire. President Trump said so. The country is literally, the cities are being burnt down right now, and you're brushing your teeth. I don't know people. I mean, I do know some people. But I don't know, people. I can't help the way she is. Anyway, I don't know if this is the way it is around the country. It's been a couple of years since I've been to a wedding. This wedding, by the way, and this wedding everybody had to verify they were vaccinated. And if anyone had any doubts whatsoever, they did have rapid tests there, right? And you could not come in until your rapid test was done. They had their Abbott rapid test that takes 15 minutes. Not perfect, but the vast majority of people there were vaccinated. And again, they were doing the rapid testing as well. So I felt safe and secure. And then anytime I left the room where the wedding was, had the mask on. It was at a hotel. It was actually a beautiful wedding. I could not hear a damn thing because it was in a concrete room at this classic hotel in Los Angeles. It was beautiful. But everything echoed and everybody was talking and I couldn't hear anything because I guess I'm 1,000 years old. And so you're talking to these people across the table and you're yelling at them like you have your headphones on. What happened? We used to put baffling in loud rooms like that. And they used to put ceilings. Instead, you go to restaurants now. Who goes to restaurants now? But let's say before COVID, you would go to restaurants, and there would be a ceiling that would act as a baffle so that the sound didn't bounce right back down, and everybody couldn't hear anybody. But now the cool thing, is to have these concrete ceilings and just leave everything exposed. And I guess that's a little bit cheaper, but it's so goddamn loud. So old. You birds, get out of my tree! So we all lost our voices, so we didn't have to listen to JoJo for a second. Let me see. Once more, I'm checking my email, and nothing. No Wacky House. I suppose we could find the Wacky House. Should we look up the Wacky House? I kind of know where it is. I know what it's by. JoJo said it's prettier. I don't like the house, the toothbrushing. Your teeth are prettier. No one cares, JoJo. We're all waiting on the house. So quit dragging your feet. Stephanie says, now the conspiracy is that they're putting chips in the PCR test because it goes to the back of your nasal passages to your pineal gland. Yeah. That's what right up there. That's where they put it. Right there on the front of your brain. The high ceiling it was prettier. By the way, our friend, producer JoJo, she gave a toast. Because this is Lindsay, her brother. It was her brother's wedding. She gave a toast. She was so nervous about the toast. And there's a couple of things about the toast. The most important thing about JoJo's toast is that I had to listen to it multiple times. Which, I mean, I'm willing to sacrifice for my fellow man. You guys know me. I'm all about you guys. So I had to listen to it multiple times. She was so nervous going into it. And the long story, I don't want to drag this out. The long and short of it is, she fucking nailed it. Like, she was the speech of the night. She's not a public speaker. Barely knows English, as you can see from her chats. And people loved it. There was laughter, there was frivolity, there were people, it was one of those, because of the age of the audience and the classic nature of the hotel, people were fainting. They couldn't believe that what was happening was people panicked and ran out without their masks on. It was mass pandemonium, but she nailed that speech. And maybe we'll watch that at some point. What section of LA is the house? It's right by something. We'll find out. It's like, I don't know, Glendale, somewhere around there. Well, JoJo, if you enjoy the high praise, what you should do is send us an email, and then we'll praise you. You're so insecure. Anyway, she did the speech, and really, the credit for the speech goes to me because I printed it out. I hear a lot of stomping going on upstairs, and none of that stomping is helping the Weird House get to my email. For people who, if anyone tuned in this morning and said, oh, I want to hear some political commentary, this is what you get when you're spilling COVFEFE. Anyway, she did a fantastic job, and maybe we'll watch that at some point. I suppose I'd have to ask her permission. But then it would all be about praising her. So at some point, we'll just have a broadcast called Praising Joanna, and you guys can watch her speech, and everybody. She actually, her dad was a comedy writer. Her dad, okay, I can see her through the studio window, and she just put her finger in the air and did this. And I don't know what that's the universal symbol for, but I think she's putting on her shoes or something. I don't know. I can turn the camera around. Do you want to be on camera right now? Oh, she's doing this. She's doing this and this. And I think she might be sending us the house. Oh, now she's doing this. Maybe she can't find the house. I don't know. She shared this house with me. And when I'm looking at houses, like, she shares all these houses, and she's like, what do you think? And then I'll look at the house, and I'll just block the house. just because I'm trying to sabotage her house looking. But I don't think me blocking the house blocks it out from her. So she should be able to find this house. She's trying to find it on her laptop. Apparently. She's landing a plane. Yes, she's landing a plane. That's exactly right, Stephanie. By the way, we discovered the Gardners. The patriarch of the family was Gerald Gardner, famous comedy writer. He wrote The Monkees. He wrote Get Smart. The Dome of Silence that was part of Get Smart, but is also the Cone of Silence. The Dome of Silence? Never mind. All of these, Gillian's Island episodes. He wrote movies for Disney. He was a prolific comedy writer. Apparently, some of that has rubbed off on his progeny. Lindsay, very funny, good friend. And then JoJo, she wrote a funny speech. And she nailed it. And she came up after the father of the bride, and he was a good opener. He did well, father of the bride. This is the universal symbol for check your email. Nothing. Oh, for the love of God, I could just find it myself. Except that I've probably blocked it out. She looks at a lot of houses. And I keep telling her, like, if you can tell there's something wrong with the house before you even go look at it, don't waste your time. Don't. Well, I want to see what's out there. Nah. Just, if you're not, she did this. Oh, here it is. Hold on. She found it. Let's take a look at this. Hold on. All right. So here's this house. I'll make it full screen for you, so you guys looking on your phones can see this house. Here's this house, and it's like, oh wow, that's first off, you're looking at this price here of basically $1.3 million. Yeah, and this is 606 Gaylord, Glendale, California. If anyone's interested, $1.3 million. Holy smokes, that's a lot of money, but it's almost 3,000 square feet. And honestly, in this area, $1.3 million. Which also, the two things. Number one, I'll never be able to afford a house in Los Angeles. Number two, I'll never be able to afford a house in Los Angeles. So it's a house, and it's actually, there's a lot of room to it. And so you see this, I thought it was a circular driveway. It's not. But it's a nice little Spanish style. I don't know, I'm guessing 1927. Let's find out. There's a pool on the side. It's a long, thin pool. And the way the camera lenses work nowadays is that pool is probably about 6 feet long. But they use the camera lenses that make it look like, wow, you could do laps in that pool. No, it's probably the size of a bathtub. But everything is deceptive. Some built-in bookshelves there. There's a lot of things you would do to this house right away. Arches. She's always talking about arches for some reason. Okay. This just means I'm going to hit my head here and here. But JoJo's only 5 foot tall, so she never hits her head on anything. And there's a garage with a workspace. There's the house, right? And you're like, oh, that's not a bad little house. Here's the property. See, it's right by the freeway. That's why the house is not $2.5 million. Lots of space to it. The road comes here and it ends. The house is by the freeway. And you're like, oh yeah, but it's not that bad. Like maybe it's worth taking a look at because you get a lot of property and it can't be like right on the freeway. Here's what happens when you click Street View. The street view from the house is literally from the freeway. I've never seen this before. Typically, it's from the street that the house is on. But this house is so close to the freeway that Google just has decided it's literally on the freeway. She's like, well, you know what? I should go check it out. Just because it is, maybe. And if you were there, you could soundproof a room or the garage or something, and you could have a studio if you decided to be there. Well, let's take a look at the street, because maybe it's a beautiful street with some trees, some high palms. No, it's the freeway. The house is on the fucking freeway. Anyway, so we're looking at that at 10 a.m. So we got to get... No. The street view is on the freeway. I don't know if anyone else finds that funny, but I do, and I think that's what really matters. So this is the street view. Here's the satellite view. It's coming, or maybe not. The 101 becomes the 134, and this is off the 134. So it's essentially the 101, but the 101 turns and twists. So this is the freeway that the second freeway that they built out to Pasadena. There's an interesting history there. But yeah, literally, you're on the freeway looking at this house. Let's go back to the satellite view and see if there's anything we can glean off of that. Anyway, no one is buying this house. So, interesting. Yeah, there's actually a walkway across the freeway right there, it looks like. A little cul-de-sac. It's at the end of the cul-de-sac, and it's tucked in right off the freeway. But instead of this being the street view, let's go to the house next to it. Hold on. Can I go to the house? I can't go to the house next to it. Never mind. So again, 3,000 square feet for $1.3 million in this area. That's a great deal. Plus, it's got a pool. If someone said, "Hey, here's this Spanish-style house from 1930," what did I say? 1929? It's 1930. I sit corrected. I am so sorry for misleading the audience. YouTube, go ahead and mark this as deceptive, harmful, and ban my channel. It is nuts. I mean, in order to live in a $1.2 million home, your annual income has to be like $350,000. I have no idea. The only people that can afford a house in Los Angeles are people whose parents settled here in the 1950s and then eventually gave them the house, and they sold that house, and they've moved a little farther out. That's the only way you can afford a house in Los Angeles. I don't get it. I don't get how a teacher or a cop or a sanitation worker or any of the people that are necessary for making a city run, I don't know how they live here. I don't get it. Now, because the houses are so insane, the rents are also insane. So I may end up living on the Freeway Studio. The next broadcast might be coming to you from the Freeway Studios. Thanks, and you know, there's nothing. I'm not knocking producer JoJo as well, because I'm here at the TBD Studios because of the generosity of producer JoJo. So you guys all don't be too hard on her. But there is a lot of space there. I don't know if there's like room for a studio. I don't know. I haven't even looked at that. You know what? I'm not going to. Because that could be a studio on the freeway. Anyway, already we're 39 minutes into the broadcast. I was like, I'm going to do 10 minutes, just say hi to everybody, let them know we're going to do the Trump speech later. I have auditions to do. It's important. I got the green screen set up. I've got cameras set up. See there? Oh, I was going to show you the green screen, but of course I can't show you a green screen because it's gone. Where you see the Fox and Friends sitting, that's a green screen. See? I'm a wizard. Let's just take a quick look at Fox and Friends, and then we'll get gone with our day. And I'll do some auditions, which I won't broadcast because I can't. Let's just see. I want to know why they're so happy this morning. The country's falling apart. Families are struggling. Inflation. Apparently, all that money that Biden is giving people for having kids, that doesn't exist in Fox and Friends world, even though the vast majority of their audience is getting that.
Right. But I remember I was in the most boring marathon. Long Island has the boring one because you're in the middle of the road by yourself.
It's nice.
I hear this is inspirational because the people and New York and Boston.
It's perspirational because they've got you go up Commonwealth, and that's what is referred to as Heartbreak Hill. My daughter used to go when she was at Boston College. It was a big party day.
Yeah.
Right.
Because everybody would go out and cheer.
Didn't somebody take the subway once?
That was
they're smiling because of the Boston Marathon. I get that. That's good.
New York. That was Rosie Ruiz.
You can't.
Liberty says you can make an offer less than $1.3 million. Good luck. With the housing market the way it is right now, that house will probably go. Well, actually, it's kind of strange because this last month, finally things have settled down in the housing market a little bit here in Los Angeles in terms of stuff that you would look at and say, that's just freaking insane. Because maybe there was a little kid nearby you and you didn't want to say fucking. But there's a lot of that. Now those houses are dropping by 100,000, 50,000. Those houses are coming down. I couldn't afford a $50,000 house. So, hey, if you'd like to help me buy a house, you can donate $1.3 million to any of these. You can become a patron. You can use the Cash App, $ Kevin Lee Father, PayPal me /Kevin Lee Dad, Venmo, I'm Kevin-Williams-157. And if you are a veteran and you're struggling, there's your helpline numbers. We still lose 20 to 22 veterans per day to suicide here in this country. And that's a problem we ignore. Two things we don't talk about enough. Veterans struggling with PTSD and depression, anxiety, etc. And then rape kits that haven't been tested. This country is chock full of 100,000 rape kits, and we're letting rapists get away when we could be testing these things. We're not good with testing here in the United States, whether that be an academic or COVID or rape kits. If I was a politician, if I was running, my number one platform is we need to get the funding to test every goddamn rape kit in this district, whatever, if I'm running for Senate, the state. It's just freaking ridiculous that we don't. Andy is lip reading. That's impressive considering that English is not your first language and I talk too fast for court reporters. I'm not kidding. I've been to court a number of times, mostly protection orders, and they always have me slow down because the court reporter people, the stenographers, for those of you who like English, I speak too quickly for them, and they have to ask me to slow down. Which I'm like, I don't feel like that's justice. Housing hasn't settled yet in LA. No, there's still not enough houses for the number of people. But producer Jojo has the benefit of being a very small person. So anything with small, like the arches or low garage doors, whatever, California basements, she can walk around just in a crawl space. That's not a crawl space to her.
Do that anymore?
I don't think so.
Right?
Jojo just sent me something. Oh, should we look at that? I don't know what it is. It better not be dick pics again. So tired of that. She just sent me the exact same house. Thanks, Jojo. You just sent me the same house. I don't know if she's up in real time or not. I think she might be behind us. Because I'm looking at her through the glass of the studio right now, and she's just staring at her laptop. She's not reacting to me whatsoever. This is a react video. When I speak, you react. Now she's pointing at something that I can't see. Oh, it's a WhatsApp screenshot. I can't get that on my computer. Hold on. See if it'll come in on my phone. Oh, I had a dog on my phone for a second. So my screenshots on my phone, or my lock screen, every time I turn my phone off or on again. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, look at that guy. Look at that guy. So I can spend all day just turning my phone off and on because I get on the Android, you can choose your lock screen to be animals. Look at that guy. He's a Chihuahua, but he's still a good boy. Cats playing with each other. See, there's a kitten and a big cat, and the big cat looks annoyed. See? Oh, let's stop monkeying around with this. Look at this guy. He's having a good time. Anyway, let's go to WhatsApp and see what the hell she's talking about with that. Here's a photo. I don't know what this is in reference to. Oh, she's sending me a picture of something that Amazon delivered to the TBD studios, and she's never seen them. And I have no idea what these even are, let alone... So someone might have taken them off the porch. I don't know. They could be in a box around here, because when you're moving, there are boxes. Oh, that's not what you trying to send me? Oh, I see. Hold on. That was eons ago. Did you ever find your thing? Oh, okay. This is what you wanted to see. Here. I didn't even know this was a thing. So at the same time that I'm like, some of the houses are being decreased in price, and Redfin or Zillow, they'll point this out. Here, she just sent me this, and oh, it's green. Okay, that green box right there, what that says, there it is. You can kind of see it now. Price increase. She circled it and put a big arrow because I'm an idiot and I would never know what she was talking about. It was a dumb house in Burbank, and they've increased the price. By how much, Producer Jojo? You're not giving us the information we need. Put it in the chat room. How much did they increase? Why would you increase your house price? Well, I mean, I know why. Stupid question. But again, in this market, there's no rules. So they've been talking about the Boston Marathon there, which is nice. Let's jump ahead.
Follow her everywhere.
Here we go.
Signs. Well, the lady is actually...
So they increased the price of the house by $60,000.
Senator Kirsten Sinema. And
I don't know that anyone is watching anymore, because basically this has just become the JoJo broadcast.
The people are from the Green New Deal Network, and they're going to be holding great big signs that essentially they're referring to it as bird dogging her, because they're going to follow her everywhere and try to put her on the spot.
No one is helping by following Kirsten Sinema into the bathroom. You're not helping the cause. This will get worked out. What you're doing is completely unnecessary. Somebody like Kirsten Sinema, look at her. Look at her. She's going to dig in her wacky heels. There are heels on Birkenstocks, I guarantee you.
Ask her.
You're just pissing her off. And by the way, don't ever videotape somebody in a public restroom. Just don't do it. Once they go into the stall, that's a safe space. College kids. My friend in Denver just found out that her kid's science teacher was a spy. All right, well.
Why she won't vote for that $3.5 trillion spendapalooza.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the whole, like, social justice war.
Trump raised the deficit by $9 trillion, but $3 trillion over 10 years is a spendapalooza. $9 trillion over one term. 4 years that, well, honestly, let's be fair, felt like 10.
Warrior activist techniques being used back on Democrats. You know, usually it's like they're harassing Sarah Huckabee Sanders or...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the GOP and the Tea Party never use activist techniques.
Ted Cruz in a restaurant, or they're, you know, haranguing some Republican, but here they're doing...
This is what happens when everything you're doing is, oh, let's have a march. Let's have a protest. Let's have a march. Guess what? They don't work. They don't do anything. Remember all those women's marches we have every year? Okay, well, Texas just banned abortion. So great job with your marches. I know it's a good time. Everybody gets together. But seriously, it's a waste of time. Register people to vote. Don't knit yourself a pussy hat and go out in the streets and freeze your ass off. Be Stacey Abrams. That is how change happens. Sorry. I am really sorry. It's great. I've been to protest marches. It's a lot of fun. Good for you. You feel good about yourself. You're not doing anything that helps in today's America. Protest marches used to be really effective. Everyone's immune to them now. No one's going to change their mind. What it does is it just shuts down traffic, and you're just losing customers.
On their own, because really, I mean, other than her and Manchin, it appears that everyone...
Be Stacey Abrams, people.
...is on board with this agenda.
Yeah. Use your arguments, use your words, get other people to vote, register people to vote, take young people to the polls because they're still not voting. Get out there and work for a cause, volunteer somewhere. Use that time where you're literally just fucking walking down the street with a sign. Who do you think is reading that sign and having their... Well, my whole life, the church's teachings have told me that abortion is murder, but I just saw a sign. So I'm changing my mind. A person just walked by with a sign. I know. Eventually, everyone will hate me. I get that. Am I for your right to choose? 100%. I'm behind you all the way. But I will not be behind you walking during COVID.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, even the people that invaded the Capitol on January 6th, their little peaceful protests, those tourists. By the way, YouTube, I'm being sarcastic. This is sardonic humor, dark humor. I am not in any way saying that the people invading the Capitol were tourists. They were criminals and should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But they could not derail democracy. We took a break for a few hours, and then we were right back at it. America is too strong.
Yeah, let's take a look.
That's a really good picture of Kirsten.
I was going to say, take a look at this.
Kirsten. I never know.
Let's do.
I'm really optimistic we will get both of these bills to President
This is Chris Coons.
Biden's desk
Democrat.
by the end of this month, hopefully, possibly by the end of the year.
I like that. I'm really optimistic that we'll get both these bills, hopefully, possibly. I mean, really on the 30 to 40% side of maybe.
But in any event, it'll make a huge difference for our country and our future.
I think I hear the same thing, that not enough Americans know what's in this bill. But when they find out, they really applaud what's in it.
We are coming.
I don't think Fox is going to tell us what's in it. It's a Spendapalooza. Oh, there's hearing aids for old people who can't afford them. We're not going to find out about that. You know all those jobs? Those 13 million jobs? About 6 million of those jobs that are unfilled right now are unfilled because we don't have the skilled workers to fill them. And Trump decided just to shut off immigration, make it much, much harder to get your F1, your H1, your Formula One, the visas that allow people who have the skills to come into our country. And every time someone comes in and fills a high-end job, there are 2 or 3 people supporting that job that are lower wage, but are still jobs and help the company grow. And we like our companies to grow because that generates more demand and more jobs, okay? That's the way it works. Nobody gets a tax break and then says, I think I'll hire 10 people. No, there has to be an anticipated demand. That's the way that the world works. Job creators, my ass.
Closer and closer to an agreement on this. The bipartisan infrastructure bill that's so important. I know the people involved in this. I've been in the rooms. We will get these bills done.
Yeah. This is constantly, this is 90% of what you see on your CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, etc. They have 24 hours to fill, and rather filling us in with things like an earthquake in Hawaii, like that's where the cameras should be this morning. No, we're talking about a bill that hasn't happened yet. Oh, look. Oh, this isn't really Fox telling us what's in the bill. This is MSNBC. That list is MSNBC showing us what's in the bill. Let's go back and see if they talk about it.
Americans know what's in this bill, but when they find out, they really applaud what's in it.
We are coming closer and closer to an agreement on this. The bipartisan infrastructure bill that's so important. I know the people involved in this. I've been in the rooms. We will get these bills done.
The president is with us on this. 98% of us are together. There's just 2 senators that are saying that they think it's too much.
I'm telling you, the overwhelming majority.
So that was about the Manchin and Sinema, the palace intrigue, not about what we saw on the screen there. Let's take a look at what's in
I know the people involved in this. I've been in the rooms. We will get these bills done.
The president.
Medicare expansion. Good. Paid family leave. Good. When you have a family emergency, someone is dying or someone is in the hospital and you need to stay home and look after the kids, paid family. Universal pre-K. The United States has plummeted in terms of the rankings educationally for our children. I believe that children are delicious and also the future. Universal pre-K helps. Free community college. Remember all those unskilled workers? Give them college. Once you're in community college, your success rate in terms of achieving a degree beyond a 2-year college or otherwise multiplies exponentially. It doesn't, but people don't understand what exponential growth is. I'm just saying that. Extended child tax credits. Right now, there are 60 million children in this country being lifted. No, that's incorrect. There are 60 million children in this country who are eligible for the tax breaks, $250 or $300 per child, and that's helping American families. And they'd like to extend that. Child care programs. You want to work, but you can't afford child care? We'll take care of that. Climate change provisions. All this wacky weather, etc. We need to do something to address that because we're just not doing it. Pathway for undocumented immigrants. I don't know if that's a pathway to citizenship or amnesty or to legally be in the country. There's a number of different proposals involved. But yeah, rather than keeping these people out of the tax revenue base, rather than allowing them to easily fill all of those millions of jobs that we need filled, rather than having Karen go to Arby's and not be able to get her sandwich within a 30-second period of time, let people work. Open up the tax base of this country to generate revenue and allow people to feed their families. Is that radical? I guess so. But we're not going to talk about any of that. We're just going to talk about this $3.5 trillion number.
Is with us on this. 98% of us are together. There's just 2 senators that are saying that they think it's too much.
I'm telling you,
If it's 1 senator, it doesn't matter. You've got to get your senators because none of the Republicans are going to vote for things that are good for America.
overwhelming.
That's the bottom line. We shouldn't be harassing Kristen Sinema or Kirsten Sinema. Either one of them. Those are the 2 senators, Kirsten Sinema and Kristen Sinema. Those are the holdups right there. We shouldn't be harassing them. We should have an issue with the second largest party in the country that none of them, not a single 1 out of 50, is willing to vote for expanded Medicare. Hey, screw you, seniors.
Majority of the Democratic caucus is for both the president's bipartisan infrastructure plan and actually his full Build Back Better plan.
A couple of things I just want to add.
Oh, good. Brian's going to add a couple of things. And then we're going to say goodbye because I got to do my auditions and stuff. Here we go.
On the Senator Sinema, I think it's outrageous that people, especially now in the Me Too generation where people talk about equity and civility, that you're chasing down a woman just because she doesn't want to spend $3.5 trillion. And for the most part, she's in the Democratic Party. And for the president not to show leadership and even backtracked after a ridiculous statement saying that's basically part of the process. Jen Psaki tried to walk it back. He had a few.
What? I don't even know what Brian's talking about there.
Few appearances since.
Oh, no. He said it was inappropriate. That's what he said. And it is part of the process that people get harassed. And unfortunately, that's the way it works. But he said it's inappropriate. But yes, this is unfortunately how we work now. Should he walk back that it was inappropriate? No, that was the first thing he said about it. Completely inappropriate.
He has not said we need civility. They are following her into the bathroom.
Wrong. That is wrong. Do not do that. I completely agree with Brian on this one.
That is somebody here illegally, this DACA person. Then you got the new Green Deal Network harassing her on a plane in the air.
2 people in there recording. One recording directly in front of the stall, and then the other person recording from outside the bathroom. That person might be a male. I don't know why they didn't go into the bathroom, but they're actually videotaping the bathroom. That better not be a male, and if it is, should be arrested. This is Arizona.
And now at a marathon.
Bye, Andy.
I think if you look at, I've been reading a lot about her, this is going to make her dig in more. And
Absolutely.
By the way,
that's what I just said. Brian Kilmeade and I agree on something. Mark this date down.
And you're not asking her. She rolled up her sleeves and got busy with a $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill, which is no money for the border. A lot of Republicans have a huge problem with it, and they should. And that's fine. 19 didn't, and they got 67 votes. That's the way it used to be. And all I'm saying about Senator Sinema is this is going to make her dig in more, and she's not alone. in the House, this moderate group has been totally left out to dry, and they haven't budged off being against the $3.5 trillion. I'm looking at this, Jared Golden of Maine. He says, I strongly support the bipartisan bill. I don't support the 3.5. Yeah. So for people who's saying that it's just her and Manchin, have you looked in the House? Well, the House is not along with this.
Right, absolutely. And some of the signs are going to...
The House will have the votes.
Hold up today. They've already, Green New Deal Network has already put...
This is how the sausage is made. It's all sound and fury.
Put out a press release saying what they're going to do. So we can look for her to face signs that say, pass the full deal, stop running, start listening, and stop running from us.
Just think about what this new green stuff is going to do to the economy, too. People should realize what's in this bill.
Well, I just think there's been a lot of focus, even with regards to Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin.
Hold on. People should realize what's in this bill, and then he doesn't talk about what's in the bill. Yes, people overwhelmingly, in the 80th percentile, they want what's in this bill. He's not going to share that information. Going to go right on to the outrage of $3.5 trillion.
On the money. Mm-hmm. And of course, the money that this is going to cost is outrageous. We've never seen anything like this. It's generational theft, without a doubt.
Generational theft. The money that's in this bill is paid for by raising taxes on corporations who pay zero, by raising taxes on people who make more than $400,000 a year. America loves this plan.
But it's
so remember those Trump tax cuts that increased our deficit? Remember that by $1 trillion a year? Remember those Trump tax cuts that was going to spur job growth? We have all these empty jobs. Remember those tax cuts that all the corporations were going to bring back all this money into the country and then buy back their own stocks, which didn't benefit anyone except the shareholders? How about taxing them?
It's the policies that are in there, and that's what Senator John Barrasso was talking about. These are policies that will put us on the road to socialism. Take a look.
In a way to try to lower the price tag, they're saying, well, we'll just start them small and let them grow over time. You and I know, Maria, once you get a federal government program in place, it's very hard for it to ever go away. But their goal is a complete takeover of the lives of the American people.
Oh, Barrasso is now on, was that Mornings with Maria or whatever? We'll have to watch that later. If he's there, he's now dipping his foot into a very, very salty pool.
Which is why I call it big government socialism, and it is...
No, socialism was where the government controls the means of production.
Expansion of government and an addiction to government like we have never even contemplated or seen before. And Joe Biden...
Oh, no, I'm getting health care from the country that I pay taxes in. Oh, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to my hearing aids so I can hear people. I'm addicted to being old and getting health care.
Biden has surrendered to this socialist wing of the party, even to the point of holding hostage.
Oh, no, better outcomes like all the socialist countries. We're also a socialist country, by the way. It's all shades of gray. I'm addicted to living longer and being healthier and not suffering from chronic illness.
Bridges, ports, airports, highways, things that the American people actually want.
Nobody wants health care.
My only beef with Senator...
By the way, I don't even know why we're dealing with health care because Trump had that tremendous health care plan. Remember? He said so in many, many times. And it was going to take place within 2 weeks. And I checked the calendar. It's been more than 2 weeks since Trump was elected. And so we've all got tremendous health care now. I don't know what anyone is bitching about.
Barrasso is that he says that they are, surrendering to the socialist wing of the party.
Yeah, we don't even need any of this bill because Trump had infrastructure week 178 times. That's a lot of infrastructure.
Absolutely not. The entire Democrat Party is socialist.
Democratic.
And I think we ought to talk about it as it is. Even, again, Kyrsten Sinema, Joe Manchin, they don't have a problem with the policies, with getting people addicted to government, with getting people hooked on government dependency. And
getting people hooked on paid family leave when there's an emergency, when there's a medical emergency in their family. People get hooked on that. If I had it, if paid family leave was available, I would be giving my relatives cancer all the time. I would be like, here, have some saccharin in your tab.
Used to.
Let's move next to the high tension wires. By the way, high tension wires are not cancer wires. They don't call cancer. Oh, you know what does? Let's move next to a gasoline refinery. Hey, I'm buying you a house, Grandma. Moving you down to Galveston, right down to Cancer Alley. Yay, paid family leave. I couldn't help it. I'm addicted.
A lifestyle where they just...
Oh my God, if I don't go to work with my child care making that possible, if I don't take a job, I start shaking violently. They're spiders, they're everywhere, get them off me.
You know, lower
socialism, addicted to socialism. Oh my God, you snowflakes.
Or their standards and expectations for...
How much is a house in Gasoline Alley? I bet... Producer Jojo, you could get yourself a really nice house right off of Gasoline Alley. And when you did the street view, it would literally be from the refinery. But there would be a studio space for me. And that's what really matters.
Prosperity and just take...
Libby says, I just paid $5,000 for my mother's hearing aids. Wow. Her Medicare paid $0, other than the audiologist appointment and the ENT MD appointment. So they paid, that's got to be what, like $400 for 2 doctor's appointment because they're specialists, maybe $500 because it's ridiculous, the prices in this country. But nothing for the actual hearing aids. But God forbid someone who's worked and paid taxes in this country for 40 years, God forbid that they be allowed to hear.
The crumbs off the table. This is what, off the government table, this is what the liberals want for us. This is what the...
Crumbs off the government table. How is $250 a month per child crumbs? You got 2 kids, that's $500. Almost half the American kids in poverty have been lifted out of poverty during the Biden administration. In the last 6 months, half the children who were in poverty are no longer living in poverty. That's amazing. That is mind-blowing. And yet, we're talking about Kirsten Sinema going to the bathroom.
A Democrat Party is unified under their...
And you know what it took? Just like, hey, let's do this. Done.
Just quibbling about, a trillion or not, here. I mean, let's talk...
What?
This is
I don't know
really
if you could put
philosophical.
Manchin in that category, though. I mean, especially he's from an energy state, and I don't think he's on a lot of this new Green Deal stuff. He did do that commercial where he shot Obamacare with the Target, and he did come out.
We ran that a couple of times.
You have a lot more confidence in him than I do, but that's fine.
Well, ultimately, he does, unfortunately, cave, it seems. But what's,
Cave. Do what his citizens want him to do. Cave. That's called caving. When you're representing your district.
When we just had the soundbite montage of all those Democrats saying, we're going to pass it, we're going to pass it. Listen, the Democrats are in trouble, and Joe Biden's, the window of opportunity for him is closing, and they know it. Keep in mind,
he's only got another 3 years.
He's at
possibly less, because, there's midterms coming up, and there's no way a Republican House or Senate does anything good for America.
38% approval rating, according to the poll, the Q poll. But they've only got a few more weeks to salvage his agenda because, the Democrats are saying they're going to pass infrastructure by the end of October. So the trick-or-treat bill. Let's see if that actually happens. But they want that to happen because Terry McAuliffe, who is running for governor in Virginia, is in trouble.
And he'll probably win. I honestly have not been following it that much. But if the Democrats can get people out to vote, if you're in Virginia, go register people to vote. Do whatever you can to get more people registered. Fill up that bucket with some drops.
The Republican is closing in on him.
I honestly care very little about who's governor of Virginia. Actually, I do. Because we need Virginia in order to certify the ERA. Remember the Equal Rights Amendment? The amendment to the Constitution that's just like, you know what? Women's, they're equal to men's. Still have not passed that. We should have passed it the last 2 years. Because Democrats got houses in states that had not yet certified the ERA. Hasn't happened. We just, rape kits, the ERA, none of the important stuff.
And he wants to be able to say, look, I support this $1 trillion infrastructure, and see, Washington can still do stuff. The other thing that is going to haunt the administration is, without action, the expanded child tax credit, which is part of the president's economic agenda, and he talks about it all the time. It's going to go away at the end of December. Wow. So they've got to do all...
Talk about how that's reduced childhood poverty by almost half, Steve. Mention that.
That stuff, or...
the children. The little people that we're so outraged by every time Texas does something. Sorry, outraged about. Those kids that the entire party is focused on protecting 26 days into their existence before they're actually children, when they're just a glob of cells. Those kids, the same kids who eventually are born and then suffer from poverty and the effects of poverty, which can be devastating in a lifelong fashion, just fixed it. Half of those kids no longer in poverty. How about saying that?
The Democrats' goose is cooked, particularly for Mr. Biden.
I just want to make one last point. I remember going to an event with a Venezuelan who actually made it back. He escaped. He's one of the lucky ones who escaped. And at this event, he stood up and he said, you have to be very careful, and you have to teach your kids that nothing is free. He said, I don't care if the government...
Yeah, no, we're taxing the rich. We know that. We are taxing the rich. They're going to pay for this. The same rich, those job creators who can't find people to fill the low-wage jobs that they make billions off of by aggregating that profit, those people, they're going to help a little bit. Oh, we might be done. Everything's done. What's going on with rape kits? We have at least 100,000 rape kits in this country that just haven't been tested. We could test them, find the DNA, prosecute cases, figure out if the rapists are already in jail or if they're from someone who's committed some other kind of crime, and now we have the hard evidence to convict them of this crime and put them back in jail instead of out on the streets. We're just not testing those rape kits. That's what's going on with rape kits. Nothing. And it's ridiculous. Why? Because it just doesn't make a good soundbite when running for office. People don't like to talk about rape.
A rice or a washing machine. He was crying, by the way, when he said this. He said, once you get addicted to free, they take away your freedom. Nothing is worth your freedom. And people have to remember that with these policies, with these price tags, the more control you give over to government in terms of getting the free stuff, also the more you're giving.
How is that control? How is grandma getting your hearing aids? How is that control? So stupid.
Over and
how is universal pre-K control? They're controlling our children by educating them and teaching them to read before the first grade. They're getting a head start on education because they're controlled.
In terms of your liberty.
They're teaching the kids, they're teaching pre-K, CRT.
This is the fundamental transformation that Barack Obama was talking about. It is in these bills.
Right. So.
Giving Americans stuff that all the other industrialized world has, and they are bypassing us leaps and bounds.
Let's see if they could get it passed, and let's hope not. And should understand there's tree equity is going to cost us a ton of money. Special tax credits, refundable tax credits.
I don't know what they're talking about with tree equity. I got to look into it, but I'm sure it's a misinterpretation of something in the bill that isn't really even a bill yet because it's not written, but okay.
There's 40 tax increases are in this. If you
Let's look it up together here, kids. Let's see what the hell they're talking about with tree equity. Tree equity score. The equity score project. Okay, here we go. New York Post. Being pushed by the Democrats, blah, blah, blah. Includes a $3 billion tree equity outlay for planting saplings and $25 billion in anti-discrimination and bias trade. Okay, so $3 billion for planting seeds. We have to plant forests. That's, we rape the forests, and then we plant more forests. The government takes care of the forests. your state or federal government, state very, very little. The federal government, for the most part, is responsible for the forest land in this country. I don't know why you would call that tree equity. $3 billion earmarked, doled out to state, local, and tribal governments for tree planting and related activities to increase community tree canopy and associated societal climate, with a priority for projects that increase tree equity. And that might be okay, here we go. According to conservation nonprofit American Forest, tree equity refers to the idea that there should be enough trees in specific neighborhoods or municipalities for everyone to experience the health, economic, and climate benefits that trees provide. Yeah, we need more trees in urban areas. Why is that a bad thing? We have tree deserts in this country. And those tree deserts are commonly linked directly with economically and socially it's deprived is not the right word. I mean, it is, but that's not what it's called. But those areas that are underserved are also underserved with trees, grocery stores, banks, access to the American dream. I guess trees being part of the American dream in my particular scenario. But yeah, so that's okay. That's part of infrastructure, literally. Trees, parks, roads, boulevards. This is part of infrastructure. This is how it works. And trees benefit us by, keeping humans alive with the oxygen they provide. So we're devastating the Brazilian rainforest so that we can have more beef for our McDonald's, but we're really upset that we're planting trees. By the way, it takes people to plant trees, and people are Americans. And Americans, those are jobs. I don't know how much tree equity pays, but it's probably a little more than minimum wage in most places. On that note, I got to do some auditions, and I'm starting to lose my voice as well because I did a lot of yelling at a lot of weddings over the weekend. Everybody have yourself a great day. We'll probably see you later. I hope so. And we still have the Trump rally to cover. I still have a Trump Hannity interview to cover. I want to cover those things. We haven't taken a look at any of the Sunday shows. Busy weekend. I hope you guys had a great weekend. If you're out there, say a prayer for our good friend Tracy. And we will see you maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. It's a wacky world and things keep happening. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. And most importantly, be good to your Heavenly Father.